audio team here. Would you guys mind introducing yourself and what each of you do?
Well, yeah, thanks for the invitation. I'm Dominic Downing. I do sound design, senior sound designer at Grinding Gear Games.
I'm Michael. As of like 6 months ago, I'm now officially a composer here. Previous to that, I was also sound design. So I kind of started with composing in Lake of Calandra.
And you're killing it.
All right. Hopefully.
For the upcoming content, are you working more so on the music side then now primarily?
Yeah, now, way more. So this next release will be the first time I have my own music in PoE2. Well, I did actually in the last release, I did the Lake of Calandra map because I did PoE1 Lake of Calandra, and then the Wildwood map because I did the Wildwood in PoE1. So I got a chance to kind of relook at some of that music.
Are you feeling nervous at all about it? Like kind of first?
Nah. I mean, I was way more nervous about the Atlas expansion stuff.
Really?
Because some of the most epic music in PoE1 is the Atlas music. So if I kind of didn't hit the mark there, then that would have sucked.
It's got to sound epic, and that gets quite challenging.
Epic.
The bar is high.
Yeah.
But I mean, now working with Camille as well, it also helps having someone there who's got a lot of experience to kind of support me.
So speaking of challenging, I talked to almost every other department. I think I still got to talk to the VFX guys. A theme that has come up with almost every person I've talked to when I kind of ask is they say audio has it the hardest. Do you think that's true?
I don't know if it's that we have it the hardest, but we have a lot of challenges that we encounter day to day. Whether that's being at the end of the pipeline where we have to kind of scramble everything together in the last minute. So by that time, a lot of people have kind of moved on to the next thing. So we've got to pester people like, oh, can you help us get this working or that working? And so we constantly have to be on top of things and just always paying attention to what's changing and what's next.
How often are you guys having to go to another department to get inspiration or a concept for something? You're at the end of the pipeline, so stuff's mostly put together, I'm assuming, by then. But do you have to go and get additional?
I think it's important to be proactive because, other departments, we're all happy to work together and we do collaborate a lot. But it's important for us to keep on top of things and making sure that we're going to people and talking to people and letting them know what we need and asking them what we can do to help them.
And sometimes there are things that we're waiting on that are almost done. And it's the kind of thing that they're waiting to come back to it later just to finish it off. And so if we're proactive and we go and hassle them, then we're going to get it earlier. Because I think if we just wait, it's going to end up too late by the time it comes to us.
Yeah, we really have to get started as soon as possible and making sure that we're talking to people, knowing what's happening. Yeah.
I think it was the Kane interview I was watching that you guys did, former, where he was saying that there's a lot of chaos, and panic, I think was the other word he used.
Yeah. It's fun though. It's exciting. If there wasn't any of that, it would be pretty boring. If we knew every day, we knew what was going to happen and it was easy, it wouldn't be as fun as it is.
It's a bit like training with weights on, being, at the end of it, you find it's really honing your skill down. You got to get good quality and fast at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, you talk to people at other studios and then when they hear what our deadlines are, they just don't believe it. I mean, other studios, they might know 6 months, a year in advance of things, what they're going to be doing, and they can be preparing for it. For us, it might be 6 hours, and you just learn to deal with it.
Yeah. I think by learning to deal with it, for example, skills in PoE have clear themes. You look at chaos skills, they deal chaos damage, or phys, physical skills. I know what needs to get done when I get a skill like that, or something that I need to make sound for. I know how to make a chaos skill. So when I know something's coming, I've got different tools or sound sources that I can pull from and make that happen. And it's fun because we get to do something new almost every day, and I don't think you get that opportunity in a lot of other places. So it's a fun game to work on.
And that's where our templates come in handy. Like we just have very solid templates for all the different things we do. So when we do have to do something last minute, like it just like cuts down that time.
Yeah,
so much.
And we have a great team as well. So
Yeah.
I noticed that you guys seem very, tight knit. Is what I know. The vibe of everyone seems to get along quite well here, and it's a very casual atmosphere. But the audio team in general seemed. I mean, hell, two of you guys are in a band together, right?
Yeah. We are. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Jen. I'm recently stepping back to do some other stuff, but it's we all hang out and outside of work as well, which is pretty unique and
Yeah,
nice.
people would make fun of us because even at lunchtime, like we don't go off in separate groups. Like we all get up together and move and go out for lunch and then sit together and then
Yeah, it's great.
But
And
not in a way where we shut ourselves off from other teams and stuff.
No.
But it's just like I think to do what we do, especially at the end of a cycle when things get really crazy, like we have to be close.
you have to rely on each other and be there for each other.
So we have to know that everyone's going to be able to support each other because like I couldn't imagine trying to do that if we all just hated each other.
Oh, no way. Yeah. Yeah, it's nice to know that, when it does come down to crunch, we have each other's back, and it's really nice working on a team like that for sure. Yeah.
When you guys are making something, and I don't know, maybe you made something you're particularly proud of, do you go out and like try to watch reactions or see what people think about the game? Like, do you ever go out there and like see like, did anyone know this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every now and then, it's like it's nice when something will play in a trailer, or you'll be like watching someone play, like the first time they're playing through the new content or something, and they'll encounter something that you've worked on a bunch, and then they'll actually like notice it. But
Yeah.
I mean, we were saying before, right? Is if we've done our job right, no one actually notices it. It
Yeah.
should just feel correct and draw them into the experience.
Yeah, we want to try and make everything really immersive, and it shouldn't distract. It shouldn't stand out too much,
When do you decide to stand out? Like, when does the decision come where, okay, this is a moment where we need the audio to pierce through?
I think, say, skill-wise, like when I was still working with skills around like early access release, things like that are like a payoff. So I think I said yesterday I did the monk bell. So that's like one of the few ones. Like you got to charge up, and then it's like dong.
Yeah.
So stuff like that's cool.
Yeah, like you got to think about it from the player's perspective, because you could go in there as a designer and be as creative as you want, and try to stand out and really think about yourself and your talents. But you can't think like that. You need to think about what is the player experiencing and what is important to them. And we've both played like thousands of hours of PoE, and you got to think about, is this thing dangerous or is this rewarding? So the bosses in PoE 2, when they have the big red flash, there's this sound, because you can't dodge those things. So you got to know that that's going to hurt you. And same with things on the other end, rewarding skills and things. You got to hear that, and so we got to think about it from a player's perspective for sure. We can't think about our precious work.
Like PoE 1 was when we first started really trying to fix some of those mods. Because some of them, like PoE 1 mods, are super dangerous, and there's heaps of them that now PoE 1 is kind of like a clusterfuck of so many effects going off at once. It's like you can't really see anything. So like slowly over time, I was trying to like tighten up the audio.
I think it was the living, the burning like molten rock fire orb that goes off. I remember playing one league and dying to that because in a party, one person could trigger it and it goes,
Yeah.
and then you run into it. And I remember encountering that like countless times of being so annoyed. And I went to Mark and I'm like, dude, this is so frustrating. And he was saying the exact same thing to me. He's like, yeah, I hate that thing. And so what I did was just like cranked up the volume because like just kept killing people. So I'm like, okay, well that one needs to stand out more. And
Yeah, that was kind of like all we did in PoE 1 before. It was like the only thing we could do is just turn up the volume as much as possible on things.
Now in PoE 2, we thankfully have a much better way of handling cases like that with like ducking, different priority systems and all of that. PoE 1 has a bit of that, but because it's such a, the game's been around for so long,
It's like
it's really hard to change those things.
Multiple years of like different sound designers, kind of like in their ideas stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, we still take PoE 1 pretty seriously though. Like we do find time to improve things, and with every league to PoE 1, we try to sneak in changes here and there.
Yeah, like because we'll create a system that fixes something in PoE 2, and it's like, all right, how do we put this in PoE 1 without breaking everything?
Yeah.
Has the experience of working on Path of Exile 2 changed the way you look at audio in Path of Exile 1 at all?
I mean, every time I go back to PoE 1, I'm like, fuck, this sounds so bad.
I think it's definitely like you do find like sometimes you're able to like do some improvements here and there, but there was one skill, I forget which one it was. It was one recently added maybe like a couple leagues ago, and I was deep in PoE 2 like at that time making skills, and jumping back on PoE 1, I realized like I can't design the same way for this game. It just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
And so I did have to really think from like a PoE 1 perspective for that. I can't remember the exact name of the skill, but yeah, at times it's nice to get some PoE 2 back into PoE 1, but sometimes it doesn't work. So we need to just find that balance.
Yeah, I think PoE 2 is like more grounded in realism in a way, whereas there is like an iconic PoE 1 sound that everything needs to have.
It's got that like legacy sound to it.
Yeah, which is also fun because then that becomes like a game of us trying to figure out how to create something that's in both of those worlds. Like it meets our standard of quality whilst also fitting into PoE 1.
When I was talking with Camille, I asked him a question related to like baseline concepts or keywords. Like Mick Gordon, when he initially failed for Killer Instinct, they came back and said, no, we want like the concept to be badass. And that was like all they gave him to work off with that word. Do you guys, you were talking about templates earlier. Is that part of the process? You guys go back to keywords or baseline concepts?
Yeah. There's another sound designer on the team, Rocco. I find that a lot of the feedback I'm giving him on different things, because we work closely together, I am bringing up a lot of the same words for different skills.
You're basically his boss, right?
Well, I mean, we work together, but yeah. There's definitely things. I mean, audio keywords in general are a bit all over the place. Bright and dark, but then you've got weird ones that pop up every now and then. I don't know. Music probably has plenty of keywords you jump to.
Yeah. I guess I don't know if I focus on keywords so much as just like, I guess so. Like we'll talk about like what something should feel like, whether it's, like tribal or calm or, anything like that, evocative.
English language is very unique. You can use these words to describe sounds and feelings that is just sometimes just, like it needs to sound, I don't know, what's something funny. It needs to sound like creamy. Like what does that even mean? Like it's like ew. Like but then if in context it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like
one of my lecturers at university, he was in a session with Kanye when he was in New Zealand. And then like Kanye was getting pissed off at him when he was trying to come up with like a new piano lick. He's like, no, it needs to sound more purple. It's like, okay, man, whatever you say.
Yeah, we're using words like that all the time. It's quite funny. Like,
Yeah. Our ones usually just like, we'll be taking the piss as our sounds a bit crispy.
yeah, crispy comes up a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, too crispy, or muddy is like another common audio term.
That's just like a standard audio term.
Yeah.
Anyway.
How much of the responsibility you guys place upon yourself for, immersion, for feeling connection to the world around it?
I mean, all the artists and everything put so much work into like everything from concept to actually like the level design and monsters.
Yeah, there's so much
everything.
work that goes into PoE, and once it gets to us, you feel that responsibility of like, okay, we need to put in just as much work, and I think part of audio's job is really bringing those things to life. All the hard work's been like laid out for us, and we just need to add in the sounds and really like complement the work that's gone into it before us.
So if I'm understanding this correctly, tell me if this sounds right. You guys have probably the tightest deadlines, and you have responsibility relied on you for immersion, but also in balance in a way, because audio can be used as a cue, but yet you're the last in the pipeline. This sounds extraordinarily difficult.
I think luckily, especially now, Mark is really trying his best to create pipelines that will like unlock us being able to start work earlier, but also having us know much earlier like what is coming, so we can at least discuss these kinds of things with people. Like if it comes to systems that require really important sounds, so if you go back to talking about like the boss, like the red flashes and just stun sounds, like all of that, like we will know about that a lot earlier, which will allow us to start working on that. But until it's working in game, you don't really know.
Yeah, and like the thing with balance is really interesting, because that is something that I often think about. There was a game, I forget which game, where they had it was a shooter game, 2 different teams, different weapons. They had the exact same stats, but one performed better than the other because one sounded better than the other, and they couldn't figure out why, and they had to change the balance. People were complaining. And then they figured out it was the audio. They changed the audio. They changed nothing else. And players were like, oh my gosh, this gun's so much better now. And the stats kind of balanced out. So when you're talking about balance, it is important. And sometimes I will go to a designer. I play the game. I understand the game. But designers and all that, they know it on a whole another level. And so I often go to them and say, hey, do you think this sound is a bit too much or not enough? And yeah, it is important to think about those things for sure.
Didn't we have in PoE sometimes like people would be commenting on thinking that we'd improved the graphics of the game, and we had just changed the audio and some of the skills?
I've seen stuff like that.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it's really funny.
Yeah. But I guess it makes sense, as we're talking about like the team as a whole, like the artwork and the audio and everything coming together. So it would make sense that one would affect your perception of the other.
For sure.
How do you even measure success then as an audio guy? I mean, by the end of it, what result are you looking from a player standpoint? When you see the reactions from the player, do you want to see reactions that they're noticing the audio, or do you feel like, oh, they're noticing the audio, like, they shouldn't be noticing the audio?
There's always a part of us that, it feels good to be noticed.
Yeah.
But
when you create something, you like to get some recognition, but
I mean, like going back to us talking about how we're so close as a team, like everyone compliments each other's work already anyway. And like really that means more to us than a random guy's comment on the internet.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I mean, it still feels nice, especially when like say like the streamers say stuff, because we are like always watching them.
So like measuring success is definitely like, it can be, everyone has a different opinion. I think we've said it a couple times now, like playing the game's really important, because if you know it's good from a player's perspective, I think that's successful. And making sure that you are testing and actually playing, because it's something I noticed with some internal alphas that we had before early access. You know, you can work on something, jump in game, test it out, but when you actually play through the game, it is a very different experience. And I guess just ensuring that is, you know, sounds good is success to me. Yeah.
So from a design standpoint, do you guys typically use like references, or how do you, let's say, I don't know, someone needs the sound of a boat crashing, like what would be the first thing you would do?
References. I mean, for music, I'm sure you use lots.
Yeah, I mean, music's a different kind of reference, right? I mean, for me, I have to reference a lot of Camille's music because it's important.
Oh, yeah.
It's important that the soundtrack as a whole is cohesive. So there's a lot of things that I have changed in the way I work, whether it's like libraries or my mix or anything. So it is similar.
I think cohesion is really important. I do find myself referencing a lot of previous work or different aspects of Path of Exile. But if it's something new, then or just something that I need to like come up with a new sound, because you know some of these things you don't have in the real world, like
Sure.
Especially some of our recent skill MTX. It's like so creative. It's like that kind of magic spell isn't real. So you do find yourself, you know, browsing on YouTube or on the internet, you know.
Or we'll be playing a game and they'll have done sound design in a way where we're like, oh, actually, that's kind of cool how they did that. Like, say, when I was doing some of the early ice skills, we don't really want, like one of the traps that a lot of people fall into when doing that is they just make it sound like breaking glass. Whereas like that's not really what it sounds like or what you want it to sound like to feel impactful in game. And so my reference for that was God of War.
Oh.
So there was a lot of skills in there where they kind of had an awesome combination of more physical sounding stuff with
a little bit rocky.
With the ice.
Yeah, I think often the solution to, you know, creating a sound or creating something maybe, but from my experience, just going with what has worked and has proven to work is the way to do it. So I think referencing is important, but also just playing games like Michael kind of mentioned, you get ideas from games, and being a gamer working on games, I think, is super important.
Do you guys have any like favorite game that you played that kind of comes back to you continually? We're like, he's really got it right.
Yeah. I'm a big Zelda fan.
Okay.
And I've always enjoyed the sound design in Zelda. Nintendo does a great job, actually. But
yeah, that's a problem with like a lot of our favorite games. It's like, but none of those sounds will work in PoE.
yeah, a lot of those Nintendo sounds are very like musical, chimey. Especially Zelda has a lot of like melodic stuff, which we can't use in PoE. But
because my one's Final Fantasy X, so I think Camille would kill me if I put anything Final Fantasy X related into the game.
Yeah, you got to play a variety of games, but yeah.
Do you have any moments of personal achievement as a team where you guys had either a hard deadline or difficult sound you were trying to accomplish you couldn't quite get right? What comes to your head when I ask this question?
Just early access,
Yeah, I think early access, ExileCon was huge. The one we just had, it was a couple of years ago now. But like I think those big deadlines are really exciting. Trailers are always a lot of fun because we get to really like showcase a lot of our work and a lot of the best bits that we're all proud of. So
yeah, and because we'll come in and you know we'll either sit in one of the rooms and we'll watch live streams together, or you know you'll look around the room and everyone's just got the live stream up on their second monitor. I'm just gonna
live streams are always fun because you get to see live reactions of the fans and players, you know.
Yeah, but no, I think the early access one was big because ExileCon was tough. I think that was like really like a 3-month grind that we did for that.
Yeah, we had plenty of time.
But the early access one, like that was a long one. That was like 6 to 8 months of like 60 to 80 hour weeks.
Right, yeah.
And like at the end of that,
Yeah,
we're getting
we did some big
burnt
hours.
out. Yeah.
What was the longest individual grind session, like pure no breaks? What was the longest hours you had to go?
Mine was that last week because it was like finishing stuff. Plus, I do a lot of the mixing for the marketing material as well. So it was one day which was like 7:30 till 3 a.m. And then I was back in the next day at 8, and then I did another session till 3 a.m. that night as well.
Yeah, I think that's really challenging. When you do like one big day and then you have to get up early the next one, that's always tough. But I think the company as a whole is a lot, takes that a lot seriously. I think when you talk about, working in one big like go, I think, we take breaks pretty seriously. It's important. And I think when we're crunching as a team, like we have our lunch, we all have lunch together, like we mentioned, and then if you're working, those 12 to 14 hour days where it gets a bit crazy, we take a good hour for like a dinner break together and make sure that we're all doing okay. And we check up on each other, how are you actually doing? And, but now the company's pretty strict on the 40 hours a week. So
I mean, you need that space because like when you're doing those long hours, you just lose track of like what you're even trying to do. And like sometimes you'll spend hours on something where, if you were fresh, you'd just be able to click in like 10 minutes.
And you need to give your ears a break as well.
Yeah.
You can't be sitting down and working on something all day because your ears get fatigued, and you need to be fresh, like Michael said. Go outside, get some inspiration. Go for a walk.
Yeah. That's why I struggle so much doing the trailers, because then you're listening to like 2 minutes of like toms and giant horns all day. I'm like, so over this.
So when I was talking with Camille, he mentioned that it's fairly unique, his situation of having like in-house music that's typically contracted out. And when I was noticing the audio upstairs, it's like you guys have a pretty complete setup as far as I can tell. It seems, quite nice. So my question for you is, working here, do you feel like it's the exception in terms of the audio team? Like, is it larger than typical, or how does it compare against other studios?
I think we're definitely fortunate with what we have. Like, we've got a nice recording room, upstairs. We've got this space here, but I think we're in a nice, humble area where we've got what we need, but we don't go too over the top.
So they ask a lot out of you, being the last in the line, but you get the materials you need to be able to do it.
Yeah, like it would be great to have a big recording room where we could have a Foley stage and really go all out. But we work with what we got, and I think we're pretty lucky with what we have here. And I think sometimes some people go a bit over the top, spend a bit too much money on unnecessary things. But
No.
Michael loves to spend money on gear. I mean, I've spent plenty of money.
No excuse.
I've spent plenty of money on gear, but I try to stop myself.
When's hardware enough? Is it never enough? Or?
It's a disease, man. I just can't get rid of it.
It's a hobby as well. It's fun. Like, I think we work hard on what we love, and I think buying a new synth here and there it's acceptable. It's fun.
That's what makes it hard, is because you'll look at something and you're like, oh, I can use this for work, but also I want this just for fun.
Yeah.
But the main draw of those kinds of things is like the physicality of it. Is sometimes just like clicking a button and moving something on the screen. Like you're not really getting any feedback from that, but like when I'm actually like touching and performing with like my Eurorack, or obviously with like my synthesizer, like I'm literally like playing.
I bought this like joystick Eurorack module recently, maybe like a year ago, and you can send different voltages out to other modules, and that's really fun because you can have like an animation playing on screen for a skill or whatever it is, and perform it with the joystick and over here. So it's a really cool experience. Like you don't get that with a VST, like a virtual instrument. No, like definitely
How do you guys
can't.
feel about that? The hardware and software split. Do you believe like you really need the hardware to get the the true sound? Or you think software can do enough to get the job done?
Yeah, I mean, people, like most people, don't really know the difference. I like you'll see people commenting on videos about stuff. I'm like, oh my god, like this is so real or whatever.
Or like the whole thing of like analog versus digital. It's
Right.
like, and then you're gonna play it through like some digital software. Like, you've just like defeated the whole
Or your
purpose.
phone speakers or something. I was like, okay.
So like, yeah, I think it's more just for us. Like, you don't need all the fancy equipment. Like one of my cousins, he's doing some sound design on another game, and he doesn't have all the fancy gadgets and gear like I do, but he's producing like just as like good work, you know. So it's just for fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm always split between that though, because then you'll go and play an analog synthesizer, and you're just like, there's like just like almost like a feeling. You can't even describe it. It's just it feels powerful.
We can tell, and I think that's enough.
Could you argue that the hardware and that feeling helps with the creative process? So maybe not, from the sound side,
yeah,
but the
100%.
making it side.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, just being able to perform it as well is just like so cool, rather than just some MIDI on the screen.
Yeah, I think we do it for a bit of, morale boost and inspiration for sure. Like, you definitely get the creative juices flowing.
All right. Well, last question for you then. All right. Santa comes to town. You get to sit on his lap and ask for one piece of hardware.
I think the Muse, right, for both of us.
Yeah, it'd be either that or there's this like thing called the Overstayer that I've been looking at. But I think it'd probably be the Moog Muse.
What's
right now?
It's so awesome. You got to get one, man. I've seen your prologue. This is like
It's a piece of hardware I don't deserve.
this is like 10 levels up from that. It's awesome.
Nah, I think it's like Moog's first, or just it's their most recent synthesizer release, I think, or second to most recent. But it's a polysynth, so they usually do all the monosynths and everything. So it's kind of cool.
You can do so much with it as well. It's got everything in one. It's great. This isn't an ad. This is not paid.
No, but they always have. I think their name's Lisa Belladonna, and they're like an insane performer, and like they're really good at making synth patches and everything. And so every time that they do their marketing material, they have Lisa performing, and it's just like, fuck, if I buy one, maybe I'll sound like that.
Yeah. But no, you need to learn how to.
Send these boys a Muse, whoever hears this.
Oh, yeah, great. That'd be awesome.
All right. Well, thanks so much for taking the time. It's fascinating. And hopefully you guys will show me some of your audio hardware then to wrap it up, and I can put that in there also.
Thanks for inviting us here.
Yeah.
Nice to have you.